What if the key to an empire might lay not in its armies or gold, but in a shadowy ritual hidden within the marble halls of the Mughal court? Would you unravel its secrets? The year is 1580 CE, and you find yourself stepping into the echoing chambers of Fatehpur Sikri, where the air carries the rich aroma of sandalwood and the faint clink of a mortar grinding something unsettling. Here, beneath the reign of Emperor Akbar, a bizarre practice unfolded: the consumption of mummies, ancient preserved human remains ground into a potion believed to grant strength and divine authority. Far from a fleeting oddity, this macabre custom was a deliberate act, steeped in medieval pharmacology and the empire's unyielding quest for supremacy, showcasing a resilience that transformed the dead into a source of power. This story draws you into the veiled corners of Mughal history, leaving you to ponder who first dared to ingest this eerie remedy and what drove its enduring allure. The Mughal Empire, reigning from 1526 to 1857, was a vast tapestry of culture and conquest. You can visualize the majestic sprawl of Agra Fort, its red sandstone walls rising along the Yamuna River, where emperors tracing their lineage to Timur and Genghis Khan governed a diverse realm of Hindus, Muslims, and more. Historical records, such as the Akbarnama by Abu Fazl, depict Akbar's rule as a blend of military prowess and administrative brilliance, yet also reveal his curiosity for exotic cures. The practice of consuming mummies, known as mumia or mumaya, originated in Persian and Arab medical traditions, where pulverized mummy was valued for its supposed healing virtues, vitality, protection from poison, and even longevity. Imported from Egypt through the Silk Route, this substance found its way into Mughal courts, merging with local alchemical practices to become a potent emblem of royal might. The ritual of mumia consumption was a study in precision. You might picture an imperial physician, his brow furrowed in concentration, working a marble mortar under the dim flicker of oil lamps, the chamber filled with courtiers holding their breath. Historical accounts, including the Tofat-ul-Mujahideen and European traveler François Bernier's observations, suggest that by Akbar's time, mumia was ingested during formal ceremonies, mixed with honey or wine to enhance its effects. This practice, noted in Mughal pharmacopoeias, was believed to transfer the endurance of the ancient deceased into the living emperor, drawing from Greco-Arab medicine's influence. Palace attendants spoke of these rites in subdued tones, their eerie quietness a stark counterpoint to the court's splendor, reflecting a resilience born of superstition and strategy. Life within the Mughal court balanced opulence with constant peril. You could almost feel the smooth marble under your feet as you moved through a harem's shadowed corridors, where eunuchs guarded confidences and physicians vied for the emperor's favor. The empire's wealth, gold, spices, and silks supported an advanced medical framework, yet rulers faced relentless threats from rivals and the physical strain of leadership. Historical artifacts such as mortar and pestle sets from the Lahore Fort Museum show resinous stains, evidence of mumia preparation. This custom turned an unusual remedy into a survival tool, with emperors consuming it to combat illness or bolster their regal aura, a cultural adaptation to the demands of imperial rule. The Mughal worldview infused this practice with profound significance. You might hear the gentle murmur of a Quranic verse as a physician prepares the mumia, his work blending Islamic mysticism with the belief that the dead's essence could empower the living. Rooted in Unani medicine, influenced by Avicenna's texts, mumia was touted as a cure for wounds and exhaustion. Yet this clashed with orthodox Islamic scholars who viewed it as sacrilege, igniting discrete debates within the court. Physicians shared accounts of emperors' recoveries or setbacks around campfires, their stories preserved in oral traditions and later in Ain-e-Akbari, revealing a resilient spirit. These narratives hint at a society where power and peculiarity converged, mumia consumption linking life with legacy. But the question remains, What compelled the Mughal emperors to adopt this macabre cure, and how did it shape their dominion? As you linger in that sandalwood-scented hall in Fatehpur Sikri, you might wonder what other mysteries of their medicinal practices lie buried in the empire's dusty archives, awaiting discovery. Welcome back, history seekers, as we venture deeper into the marble heart of the Mughal Empire, where the eerie ritual of mumia consumption reveals a complex web of survival and strategy. You last stood in the sandalwood-scented halls of Fatehpur Sikri in 1580 CE, captivated by the sight of an imperial physician grinding mummies into a potion for Emperor Akbar's strength. Now, let's explore how this macabre practice evolved, fostered unexpected alliances, and tested the resilience of a dynasty facing both internal and external pressures. A narrative that draws you closer to understanding the forces behind this peculiar tradition. As the Mughal Empire matured, the use of mumia grew more refined, blending ancient wisdom with courtly innovation. You can picture a physician in Agra, his hands steady despite fatigue, grinding mumia with rose water and saffron, guided by a text from a dream of an ancient healer. Historical records, such as the Ayn-e-Akbari by Abul Fazl, note that by Jahangir's reign in the early 17th century, this remedy was standardized, with detailed recipes preserved in royal pharmacopoeias. The mixture, sipped during dawn rituals, was believed to enhance vitality and ward off treachery, a practice refined through trial and observation, passed among court healers. This evolution turned a strange custom into a craft of endurance, offering the emperors a psychological edge amid their vast responsibilities. This practice sparked unlikely partnerships across the empire. You might envision a Persian alchemist trading mumia preparation techniques with a Hindu Vaidya in Lahore, their shared goal to bolster the emperor's health. Archaeological evidence, such as resin-stained mortars from the Red Fort, suggests a network of knowledge exchange, with mumia imports from Egypt coordinated through Gujarati merchants, as recorded in the Mirat-e-Ahmadi. By Shah Jahan's time, these collaborations enriched the ritual, adding local herbs like turmeric, noted in traveler accounts by Peter Mundy. This unity strengthened the court's medical corps, yet drew criticism from Islamic scholars who challenged its legitimacy, pushing practitioners to defend their methods in hushed council meetings, their laboratories a sanctuary of whispered expertise. The challenges of ruling a vast empire fueled these developments. You can almost feel the heat of a Delhi summer as you traverse a palace courtyard, where Jahangir faced rebellions and the strain of governance, his sleepless nights a catalyst for new cures. Historical accounts, like those in the Jahangir-nama, reveal the emperor's reliance on mumia to combat fatigue, with physicians adjusting dosages to avoid overdose, a delicate balance documented in court diaries. Some rulers experimented with mumia plasters for wounds, inspired by battlefield needs, a practice noted in Mughal military records. This resilience transformed the remedy into a survival tool, a cultural response to the physical and political tolls of empire building. Spirituality remained the cornerstone of this custom. You might hear the soft recitation of a Sufi poem as a physician prepares the mumia, his work infused with the belief that the dead spirit could fortify the living. Rooted in Unani medicine's synthesis of Greek and Islamic thought, mumia was seen as a conduit for divine favor, with rituals often accompanied by prayers. Yet, this clashed with orthodox ulema, who cited Islamic law against desecration, leading to discrete tensions within the court. Healers shared tales of emperors' recoveries, sometimes exaggerated around hearths, their stories preserved in oral traditions and later in Padshah-nama, revealing a defiant spirit. This tension shaped their identity, mumia consumption bridging earthly power and spiritual resilience. But the mind lingers. How did the moral and physical costs of this practice affect the Mughal dynasty, and what hidden struggles did its practitioners face? As the ritual's complexity deepens, the enigma of its legacy grows, leaving you to wonder, what drove its persistence, and how did it influence the empire's fate? Welcome back, history enthusiasts, as we bring the enigmatic tale of the Mughal emperor's mumia rituals to its captivating conclusion, a story where power and resilience intertwined in the face of an empire's challenges. You last explored the marble courts of Agra in the early 17th century, marveling at the refined mumia concoctions and the alliances that sustained them under Jahangir's rule. Now, let's witness the climax of this practice, where it faced its greatest trials and its legacy reverberated through time, offering lessons that linger in the present. As the Mughal Empire reached its zenith, the use of mumia encountered its sternest test. You can picture a physician in Delhi in 1658, his hands trembling as he prepares a mummy plaster for Aurangzeb, the room lit by a faltering oil lamp, while courtiers debate its efficacy amid a looming succession crisis. Historical records such as the Alamgir-nama note that by Aurangzeb's reign, the practice faced skepticism as the empire grappled with financial strain and religious orthodoxy. Archaeological evidence from the Red Fort, unearthed jars with resin traces, suggest mumia use persisted, though in diminished form, with physicians adapting it for battlefield wounds as recorded in military logs of 1660. The strain was palpable. Some healers were dismissed, their methods questioned, but others persisted, blending mumia with local herbs, a resilience that turned tradition into a last bastion of imperial vigor. The empire's decline marked a turning point. You might imagine the final mummy ritual in 1707, as Aurangzeb's death loomed, a physician offering a honey-mixed dose in a quiet chamber, the palace silent, save for a distant muezzin's call. The rise of British influence, documented in the East India Company records, saw traditional medicine overshadowed by Western pharmacology, with mumia imports ceasing by the 18th century. Yet the practice's echo endured. Unani healers in modern India still reference mumia's historical use, as noted in 20th century ethnobotanical studies. This resilience seeded a cultural thread, linking Mughal ingenuity to contemporary herbal traditions. The spiritual resonance was profound. You can almost hear the last strains of a Sufi chant fade, as Aurangzeb's puritanical reforms condemned mumia as un-Islamic, with ulema enforcing its ban. Physicians faced exile or censure, their texts hidden, but their stories survived. Fragments in family oral histories and Mughal chronicles like Masir-e-Alamgiri, preserved by descendants, speak of emperors' recoveries, turning this macabre remedy into a legend of endurance. This fusion of ritual and resilience left a legacy of adaptive strength, a lesson in survival that outlasted the empire. Today, its tale resonates. The mumia practice prefigures modern debates on alternative medicine, herbal cures, resilience therapies, linking Mughal oddities to global health trends. Its resilience shapes discussions on cultural preservation in medicine. As you stand in that silent chamber, consider this. What lessons from their macabre rituals still guide our understanding of power and healing in a modern world? The answer might lie in the whispers of those dusty Mughal archives, waiting to enlighten us anew. Thank you for joining this journey. Stay tuned for more mysteries from history.